everyone, welcome to another episode of Crash Cinnamon. I'm your host McKenna. Today we'll be talking about a very sensitive topic, might be even controversial depending on how you look at it, but the topic is really in line with something I've been thinking about for a while now, and it's kind of it's actually a question. Would you break confidentiality, something someone has told you in confidence, if it meant that they are safe, they are not going to make the wrong decisions, that, for the greater good? And greater good here is sometimes can be very misunderstood. And what is greater good? For one's greater good might be not another. So everything is relative in this world. But however, if it's a life-threatening situation, if it's a do-or-die situation, if it's helping your friend, your family, your business come out of a hole, then would you do it? Would you spill the tea? Would you, go and do something that probably ethically you wouldn't do it before? Everything about you is about staying loyal, not to break a promise or anything like that. But would you? So a while back, maybe 15 years ago, I was hanging out with a group of people, and life was just happening. Life was really, really happening. We were living our best life the way we thought we were living our best life. And we were young and vivacious and all this cool stuff, And we're experiencing things for the first time as a group dynamic situation, as adulthood was kicking in. Jobs, some of us were getting jobs and contracts for the first time. Things were going well, people getting cars and, moving out of their parents' houses. It was an interesting time. So for a backstory, those who don't know or have not heard of me before, I moved to England when I was 17. And it was rough. It was rough on me. Nothing major happened in the sense of, I was harmed or faced racism, though I faced racism way much later and it was bad. Close to death, basically. However, it was rough because at 17 you already know what you want to go do in uni and all these kind of things. You formed your circle of friends. You're kind of understanding, you're going to be an adult soon. There are things already you've established about your personality or character. Other things you're still finding out. You're still, getting to know, what side of the fence you will stand on certain matters of the world or just opinions or whatever. So when I was around 20, I think, I met this group, and they were all from my country of birth, which is Kenya. And there were all kinds of people in there. There were those who came from stinking, filthy rich families. Those who had come straight to England and hadn't, where they used to live in Kenya is like the country rural side, so they had not been exposed with a lot of things. Then there were those who were so street savvy, they would never miss a trick. They were just, then there were the cool people, then there were the in-betweens, and so forth and so on. Now, interestingly, for this group, didn't have a lot of females in the clique. Like, we'd always meet new people, add them to the group, and the problem is, majority of the guys would hit on the girls, and it would just be messy. And really messy, because this one would hit on this, and he knows, and he tries to hit on her too, and before you know it, there's a scuffle, or this one slept with this one's girl, or there was a lot of undercutting, as men do sometimes when they're that age, kind of thing. So it was very messy, it was very tricky. So a lot of females would be hurt and leave the group. So most of the times I'd be left, me and a couple of others, some who are my cousins, or like distant cousin, and some people like that, and others would be added on, and same cycle, or they finish uni and they move away to another city if they get jobs or whatever. Now in this situation, a lot of things were going down, and some of the things were really dangerous, in the sense some people were skipping school, when I mean school, I mean university. They were not going to lectures like terms on end. So their parents, they're thinking, my son or daughter is doing well, she's studying, all these things, because they'd even say, I can't come, I can't talk to you this weekend, or because I'm really studying, and they are partying after partying and all this, So there's a group of us who came here with our parents, so we all kind of knew each other, our parents knew each other, and all kind of things. So because it was common knowledge I was the only female that was constant in this group. Some parents were doing it, they're like, I haven't seen, have you spoken to my son, what's happening, I'm trying to reach him, is everything okay, and my daughter did it. It was very hard, because you knew what was happening. You knew they're trying to avoid their parents. They were involved in some very shady stuff, and they just didn't feel their parents probably would understand, or they'd be met with judgment, or they just didn't want to feel like guilt. I don't know. So it was heavy on me to bear sometimes, and sometimes I'd call them to the side and I'm like, yo bro, this what you're doing is just, it's got to stop, and you're not doing yourself any favors, because down the line, actions have consequences. And sometimes they'd listen, and sometimes they would tell me, you don't understand, blah blah blah, we're not like you, and it will bug me a lot, and I'd carry this with me. They don't know this, but I'd carry it, and because I said before, I'm a Christian, I'd pray for them. I'd try and find even interesting articles of what they're going through and send them, or try and send them videos or whatever, indirectly just speaking about the situation, which I think would be resolved in a different way. So as you can guess, most of this fell on deaf ears, and it was heartbreaking for some of the situations when the parents found out, and they were like, McKenna, why you should have told us, blah blah. And I have to act sometimes dumb, or sometimes I'll just say, if the son or the daughter has already said, oh yeah, she knew, then I have to just own up to it. Needless to say, that gave me a really heavy heart, and I think when I was around 25, I made that decision. I would never ever I'd rather be called a grass or whatever, but I would never keep vital information that would cost someone's future or career or whatever to myself anymore. If I saw this person is making the wrong decision, I'd speak to them and I'd tell them to their face, okay, so we've spoken about this, you told me about this, I know this is happening, but I can't let you ruin your future, and I'm going to give you a chance to speak to your folks, to sort it out with whoever, if it's a relationship situation, before I tell them, because if you don't, I will. And they'd get shocked and they'll be like, yeah, really? I said, yeah, I'm ready to go there because I care about the situation getting worse. So in a way, it would trigger them to think and be like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. But some would call my bluff and say, oh, I don't believe you would tell me and everything. And to be honest, ladies and gents, I was not strong enough to actually go and speak, and some things really spiraled down. And when I look at it, I'm like, maybe I should have done something. But then again, you're like, when is it your business? In minding your own business, where do they cross the line, and where does your business begin? When you love a person and care for them as your own, even though they're not your own blood. Anyway, so a certain situation happened once. There was a young lady who was a sister to one of the people who was in the group, and she did something without consulting me, because again, this is a lot of people would hide with my name and say, oh yeah, we're going with McKenna here, so their parents would be like, oh yeah, she's cool, we trust her, so it's okay. And sometimes they will call me, they're like, do you guys need money, are you sorted? Just like, yeah, we're good, it's okay. So this girl used to do that a lot. She used to use my name and say, oh, she's coming to see me or whatever. So one time she created a fake letter for school to say that they had a trip to another city and they would stay over, and so she would need money for hotel and all these kind of things. Now, mind you, then it was normal for such trips and for such events to happen. So the parents agreed, and they're like, oh, you sure, and everything. And then she kept saying, don't worry, I'll be calling McKenna to keep her informed. She'll be like a budding system kind of thing. So the mom called me. She's like, oh yeah, so you know about this? And I was like, yeah. Because up to then, the daughter actually came and told me this is a school trip, and it all looked legit. Even the letter looked legit, so I didn't know it was fake. So on the night she calls me, she'd gone out. Mind you, she's under 18, okay, so she shouldn't be going out clubbing and all these things. But she looked older than her age, and she was taller and everything, so you wouldn't know really. So I don't know, she sounded so drunk and everything, and I was so freaked out. And she was telling me, oh, I'm in this city, we're having fun with so and so. I'm like, what? I thought she went for a school trip. She's like, oh, I had to lie because I always see you guys go out, I wanted to experience it myself, and I didn't lie that you'll keep your tabs. I'm telling you now what's happening. I said, why didn't you tell me before? And I said, because I didn't want you to stop me. I said, why are you telling me now the truth? I said, because of, and then she was like, in case of anything happening. Oh my, now I felt like those parents who stay by the phone, keep looking out the window. I didn't sleep a wink that night because we agreed she'd call me every 2 hours, like just to keep tabs. It got to midnight, or is it 1 o'clock? Her phone went to voicemail. And there, ladies and gents, I was freaking out. Like, I didn't know what to do. It was so stressful. It turns out she needed some help, and thankfully she in those club situations, she met someone, a mutual friend, who helped her and everything, and helped her come back home. And she came and told me, and I was like, what? Why did you do this? And everything like that. Anyway, years later, I don't know if her mom found out, but I think she suspected that it could be all a lie. Anyway, I just told her, from now onwards, if you want to go out, come call me, I'll take you, it is fine. Rather than lie about the situation. And I can speak to your parents and say, okay, you want to go for a concert, I'll be chaperone or whatever. And she did listen, and after that it was cool. Like, if she wanted to go like a concert or whatever, and even later when she was over 20 and whatever, she'd drag me out of bed. She's like, come, you're still my chaperone, let's go. But that situation made me think, should I have alerted? Because it got pretty dicey after a while, and I'm not sure where this 16-year-old is. So there are certain situations that have happened even in work that made me think, okay, I think I need to say something here, because the way things are going, somebody will get blamed for something they didn't do or say, but then you just wonder, will I just be messing this whole up? So in the light of, I've been seeing a lot of things have been happening, mental health wise, somebody says something to you and they tell you can't say, I'm going through this, and you can't say. I just want to encourage you, yes, be a vault. Don't share those secrets, in the sense of integrity and loyalty. But when it comes to the fundamental things like safety, if somebody's life is in danger, if the business will tank because of an integrity issue, then you have to speak up. You might lose the friendship of this person. In fact, I'd advise you to go speak to them first and say, okay, listen, I am not comfortable in seeing you suffering, or you doing this, or stealing from the company, or whatever it is, and I'd like you to stop, or consider seeing a professional, whatever the situation is, and just give them first the first line of response, so they can, they know what you're going to do. If they don't agree, just say, honestly, for your safety, I think somebody else should be informed, so that I know you'll be safe and okay. They might not like it, they might not be agreeable at that time, but at the end of the day, it makes the difference in making sure that they're safe, they're okay, or reading about them in the newspaper next week, that in the obituary section or whatever, or they're making the wrong move. In fact, especially a lot of the things that I faced in my 20s were people just deciding to live their lives just the way they want, because there's freedom, you're an adult now, and some of them went into really abusive relationships, and I was like, wow. And all this, they didn't want to speak about it, they didn't want anyone else to know, and it was so heavy on me, and my goodness, sometimes I couldn't sleep, and I couldn't say why, because I'm worried about somebody. But these days I've given myself freedom not to, when somebody tells me something, I said, I actually say it now, if it's something that will cause your life, your business, your integrity, best don't tell me, because I'll have to do something about it. However, if they do listen to you, thank them for listening, from coming to you and choosing to be vulnerable and open. Don't judge them. There's a part where you have to tell them, okay, listen, what you did was stupid, or you're not going to work and calling sick, and you're not sick, that's why you're fired now, was not cool, but now you've learned from that mistake. If it's a business deal that was supposed to be closed, and they didn't make the proposal because they were out doing some other stuff they were not supposed to be doing, you can just tell them, okay, you missed on that opportunity, and that pain should teach you not to give up on your dreams, because that's what you've placed and put in your business. Remind them that their business is valuable, and they ought to do better for themselves. Don't be in a condescending tone or whatever, but just help them to see really their choices have consequences, and that you'll always back them up, you always give them support. However, you not partake in them to self-sabotaging themselves. You won't partake in that, and be very clear about it. And I think I've maintained a lot of friendships now, and because there are clear boundaries, there are clear objectives in things. I'm even involved in certain organizations and charities, consulting for different stuff, and I'm very clear on the onset. This is why we are doing this. I'm not prepared to do that. All that. Be clear, because some people take your kindness for granted and your way of being, and they think you're weak, but it's not weak. You're choosing to respect them. However, there's always a limit to that. Okay, so thank you for listening to this episode of Crash Cinnamon. Keep following us on our social media handles at Crash Cinnamon on Instagram and Facebook. Share, like our what you listen to, and continue giving the feedback you've been giving. Thank you very much. See you in the next one.